My friends, it is now week 12 in qualitative research methods, and our focus this week is going to be on writing good research questions. Now, I will admit for myself, this can be very difficult, particularly in the quantitative sense, because you have to have the two different variables. You have to have your independent and your dependent variable. The good news for you in qualitative research, you don't necessarily have to have that, because you're just wanting to find out why people react the way they do, or why they think the way they do, or why a situation is as it is, or how things function as they function with one another. So you're not really looking for, in quantitative, we don't just look for a cause and effect. We're looking more for correlations. We're looking more for relationships. We're looking cause and effect if we get into an experiment, but we're not doing any of that when we're talking about qualitative research. So that makes them a little bit easier to write, okay? There's a good course video for when I was lecturing the class, when I had a face-to-face, and we talk a lot about writing good research questions. You need to make sure you pay attention to that, look into that. If there's other resources or other research you need to do to help you write good research questions, or if you have other questions, please get in contact with me and I'll help you with that. Because your assignment this week is mini project number 3, which is writing your research questions. Okay? Now, I want to go back off of that and go back to your introduction draft, and I want to clarify something for everybody. You will not conduct the study in this course. You're going to be setting it up. You're going to write the introduction for me. That was the assignment. Your mini project number 2 was writing that introduction. This does need to be based a little bit in research. You do need to have some supporting evidence, have some scholarly research, or even trade journal commentary that supports your point of view, because a lot of you are professionals and are working out in the field and you're already experiencing some things and you're already seeing some things. But if you just state it that way, then it comes across as your opinion, because what I've experienced in my classes may be very different from what you've experienced in yours. If you have evidence that supports that point of view, that's great. But we have got to avoid appearing biased in our research, because immediately that sets up a red flag for the reader, and they're going to be reading it then and saying, well, yeah, you think this, or yeah, that's the result you came to, because you already think that way and you just found evidence that supported it. We don't want that. Your results may support your point of view or what you're thinking, and if you already have an educated guess, you don't need to write research questions, you need to write a hypothesis. And then you're going to go about finding if that is actually true. And keep this in mind. If your hypothesis is proven false, or your research question isn't necessarily answered the way you think it's going to be, that is okay. That's the beauty of research. As long as you set it up properly, you interview the right people, you have the right research questions or the right hypothesis to guide what you're wanting to study. As long as you've done a thorough literature review of what information is out there, so that you're not replicating or doing the exact same thing somebody else did, and that literature review is guiding your research, as long as the structure is okay, whether you find out the result you thought you were going to find out is right or wrong, doesn't matter. It's still a valid research project because you added to the body of knowledge and you filled a research gap. That is our focus. Okay, so going back, in this class, you will not actually conduct the study. You're going to write your introduction. You're going to give me your research questions. You're going to lay out your methodology, and in that methodology, you're going to tell me what methodological approach you're going to use, what data collection techniques you're going to use, whether that's document analysis, whether that's interviews, observation, anything along those lines, a focus group, whatever you're going to use to gather the data. And then you're going to tell me about your population, who's going to be involved in it. You're going to tell me maybe how many questions you're going to ask, or even give me some suggestions of those questions. And then you're going to give me your reference page. You are not actually going to conduct the study here. You're not going to do a literature review for this class. The only literature should be a few references back to that, again, support what you're saying in your introduction. But that's it. This is not a full-blown research project for this class. If you want to use this study for your final project, that's great, because now what you've done is already gotten your first draft of your introduction, you've gotten the first draft of your methodology, you've gotten some of your references already started, you've got your research questions already going. So that's already helping you to your final graduate project, but you're not going to conduct the study for me. Okay? Hopefully that clarifies some things. So again, look at the video for this week on writing good research questions, and then contact me if you still have other questions after that. And then mini project number 3, write your research questions. And don't ask me how many, that's up to you. I would say no more than 5, and you do need to have more than 1. So somewhere between 2 and 5, okay? But that's all due Sunday at midnight. Got other questions? Shoot me a line. Have a great one.